the last 24 hours in the overall market, both Bitcoin and just S&P 500, Nasdaq, it's all been crazy. And in my opinion, this is very, very fascinating, amazing, and I'm very thankful that I can be here. I'm going to show you guys what I'm talking about in a moment, but I'm very thankful I can be here and observe and learn from a lot of these crazy fluctuations. I don't think we've seen something like this play out in the past. Um, it's very, very interesting, and basically the whole reason the last 24 hours has been crazy is because we had what was it, a lot of bombing happen, just a lot of craziness happening, and then we had at that time crude oil going up, and we were expecting the VIX to go up as well. But and this is something that's super, super weird. I'm gonna show you guys with my this right here. I'm just making it private for some sensitive information, but basically I opened up a UVXY trade, and earlier today I ended up closing out BRKB at a small profit to open up UCO, and now both of these have a investment of $10,000 invested into each of these two stocks. UVXY is down 903 at the moment, and then UCO is down 1,265. And I'm gonna use this as an example to express how important it is to understand your position sizing and why you're opening a trade in the first place. But before we get into this, if you guys have been watching for I'm primarily focused on Bitcoin and Bitcoin related stocks that have a lot of priority for Bitcoin. And when I trade something like this, because I want to, this is why I'm so calm about this, is $10,000 invested here and 10,000 invested here is nothing for what I am comfortable with. I can lose my entire capital and lose $20,000, and I don't care. The whole reason I'm opening these trades and I'm not focusing on any structures or anything within them is because these are basically insurance trades to hedge for any volatile or any downtrends that can happen going forward. And I did accumulate more BTC today. I'm going to show you guys a picture. I don't know what the numbers look like right now, but $40,000 invested into BitU. I opened it earlier today when the market was still open, well before this pump happened. And the reason I did that is because we already dipped into deep value. We can still look more into it, but if we do reach into that purple area a bit more below 100K, then I'll add even more. I plan to add a lot more to that swing position for Bitcoin because I'm expecting it to be much, much higher soon enough. But, understanding where your priorities are with trading and what you focus on, and then when you supplement it with any kind of like protection trade for any volatile you're trying to hedge, you want to make sure you're well positioned to not worry about that trade whatsoever. And if it loses capital, if it loses value, that's completely fine. That 20K will be earned back very, very soon as Bitcoin goes higher. And it's there. And I'm not going to close it out just yet because here's the thing, right? This is super weird. I've never seen this before, but you have Iran launched some missiles towards a U.S. base. And for some reason, I feel like this might be very obvious for a lot of other people, but for me, I don't understand how that can drop crude oil prices and how can that drop the VIX. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. The only way I can make sense of it somewhat, and I'm not 100% like leaning towards this, is we all know that war is a big money printer. A lot of money is made in war, and it's a good reason for the Fed to want to cut rates. And at that point, we have a lot of asset inflation, and people are looking to buy risk on assets, in my opinion. But if that's the case, like, would we have seen a much more aggressive price movement? And now, well after like for example, if I show you guys the VIX ETF and UCO, like, we had just out of nowhere sudden drops due to this news of the U.S. base being raided, or not raided, striked, and then soon enough after, a few hours after, we have crazy news of agreement to ceasefire. And of course, when there's ceasefire, it's mostly because there's some negotiation happening in the background. But we've seen a lot of this happen enough in the same global tension last year, and it's just we don't know if the worst is over just yet. So I am still going to be holding on to these trades. Again, I don't care if this drops. I don't care if I lose 20K. It's not something I care for. The whole reason I have this here is just to continue having that exposure in case volatility and just new negative news comes out, and then we start seeing a fake out happen in the overall market, and then everything drops. So I'm gonna leave this there for now, until I have further confirmation that the worst is over, and we can be looking at you know potentially higher prices soon, and then that's when I'll close out of these trades. But as of right now, I'm very happy I have these two opened because I'm here. I'm set up for any uh, you know negative events that can happen randomly. We know things can happen very randomly. There's a lot of you know craziness in this global macroeconomic world. But right now, ceasefire is a thing. We'll see how that evolves. I am not 100% like too optimistic in the short term because this is still super fresh. It happened today. This is all super fresh, and we've seen positive news leading to potential negotiations and an end of a war. Result, eventually just all of that gets teared down, and then we start seeing negativity again, and then all this optimism disappears. So I'm gonna leave those two trades opened as insurance to hedge against my overall Bitcoin swing trade, and then we'll go on from there. And one thing, let me see if I can find the article I want to show you guys. Bitcoin bust past 106K on report of Iran-Israel ceasefire. We've seen that happen. It reached 106K before dropping. And then there was another one I wanted to mention. The rate cut bets. The thing is, right, like if this ceasefire didn't happen, it pushes towards rate cuts because, the government has to print money to fund dilute the USD and to fund war operations. And now that we have a ceasefire, well, this article is a big question mark because now it's like it can potentially happen, but things have to go back and become negative again, like the ceasefire, and they go to war again, and no negotiation is in place, and then a lot of this optimism just gets thrown out in the trash. So that's why I'm being very, very cautious and still keeping my swing trade on Bitcoin reasonable and holding on to this $20,000 investment on two trades on the side to hedge against any randomness in the future. So I'm very, very excited. I'm very thankful to be able to actively monitor the markets and just really, really enjoy learning, because this is incredible. It's absolutely amazing. So the VIX can still pop, the S&P can still fall. It went up just about 1% today. A lot of things can still happen, so it's still too early to tell. But the one thing I can be sure about is how I managed my Bitcoin accumulation. So right now, we know that due to this optimism and the ceasefire, for some reason, a U.S. base getting striked was good news. Probably because of the Fed rates, but we saw the price go up higher. We dipped into the purple, so there's obviously enough momentum for this to go deeper. If if this ceasefire in this U.S. base wasn't attacked, then we would have been lower into this purple. But there's a lot of optimism holding the price higher. The RSI is maxed out, and we're still not above this swing high. So what I'm gonna do is I'm still looking for lower prices because we don't have a confirmed uptrend. And a confirmed an uptrend will be just taking advantage of the swing low to the current swing high and just keeping an eye on a simple retracement. The 120 moving average is sort of flirting with 103,300. So we can potentially find a floor here and push up higher. There's also a very simple support line going higher. I would not be surprised if Bitcoin pushes higher just because a lot of this optimism is still fresh. And, if there's no negative news happening throughout the rest of the week, we could potentially see more, bullish volume coming in to the price. And if that does happen, then I'll just keep following the price higher with the fib retracement, and then keeping an eye on the 120 moving average as well, and how the RSI is resetting itself with new structures forming. But the thing is, in order to confirm a continuation of bullish momentum, not to confirm that the low is in, but just to confirm a continuation, I'm looking at the support level down here. With if we come down into here and we break that 0.5 and we're trading between 0.618, so 102, 101.2k and 102.1k or 102.2k, then I'm looking to potentially open some short-term longs and using this simple swing low as an SL, because we still, now we have easy momentum to the upside unless some random negative news comes out in the market. But here's the cool thing about it too, is like, well, we don't have bullish confirmation, so the question is rather not a lot of this global tension um, environment that we're seeing gets proper negotiations and things happen quickly. If not, then we can probably see, the VIX and start pumping up higher. UCO, it would depend. If things go bad and for some reason negotiations don't work out, then we could potentially see crude oil jump back up. It's just a wait and see kind of thing. I'm glad I opened up more or added more to my Bitcoin swing trade at these levels. I'm very happy with it, knowing that the price broke below 100k for a moment. This is all. I mean, anything under 110k is an amazing deal in my opinion, because very soon I do believe we're going to be much higher. And just like this quick recovery from out of the purple, any potential further retest into the purple, which is still in my opinion more probable than us just confirming a low and going up much higher. Any further dip in this, I do believe it's going to be very, very quickly recovered out of. It's not something that, it's going to last long in my opinion, just because a lot of that deep value Bitcoin has been bought up. But yeah, just to keep it simple, guys, I'm continuing to accumulate long Bitcoin exposure for an overall swing trade for higher prices. I'm hoping the price goes lower because it will give me a chance to accumulate and for us to finally have a more reasonable retest of this purple area for deep value. There was a 2024 structure example just like this where I'd gone over in so many videos. I believe in yesterday's video I went over it. And then again, the $20,000 divided in between these two trades are for hedging. And this 20k is not something I care about. So I have no problem with holding this, even if it keeps depreciating, because if it keeps depreciating, that means we're seeing the overall market and Bitcoin go much higher, and I'm gonna be making much more in Bitcoin than I'll be losing here, and it's just gonna balance out for taxes. So it's gonna be it's all good, and it's not like this is gonna go to zero either way, but the point is, there's a lot of uncertainty right now. I'm continuing to accumulate Bitcoin, but at the same time to protect and to potentially profit out of any negative randomness that we can see pop off in the articles and the news media. Then I have these two ready to go to take advantage and to raise some capital if that were to happen. And if not, then cool, we go much higher. Eventually those will be closed out and we'll just be making a ton of profit and make more profit than what I'm losing there. But that's the whole point of it, is hedging, whatever you're focused on, hedging, protecting it, like insurance trades basically, and keeping that less, the trading amount with those hedges being much less than your primary trades that you're working on. This is how I'm viewing it. That's just my opinion. But as of right now, we can keep going higher, but it'll be fair for us to retest that 120 moving average, go into a proper smaller picture retracement before we can go up higher. As of right now, I do believe that if we do come down and break that 0.5 and we dip even just slightly below 102k, I do believe that the support will fail and will go down lower. But if the optimism currently in the short term is good enough to push prices higher, and we know a lot of leveraged Bitcoin positions have been liquidated if you guys check out the heat map. But yeah, if there is that bullish momentum still alive, then we probably won't even test this area and we'll not even go below the 0.5, probably stay higher and then just pump up. But again, I do believe that if we do test this area a little too deep, break that 0.5, then I do believe lower prices, it's much more likely. But yeah, I'll keep you guys updated on Bitcoin. I'll keep you guys updated on my UVXY and UCO trade. And then we will continue forward and see how a lot of this evolves, because it's still fresh. This is gonna be a crazy week because no one knows what's happening, and no one knows if the negotiations are gonna be good enough to put this war in the past. So yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one, and take care.